I was going home from work that day exhausted after putting in another long shift. For the past 3 months, I had been saving up for something special, something that would change our lives. Amanda and I had been together for 3 years, sharing a cozy apartment in Seattle that we had transformed into our own little haven. Lately, though, she had been acting different. Coming home late, guarding her phone like it contained state secrets, and making excuses about where she had been. Then I heard it. Her laughter from the bathroom, followed by those words that would change everything. He would never suspect a thing. If you've ever felt that sinking feeling when something is not right, drop where you're watching from in the comments and hit subscribe for what happens next. The story of how Amanda and I met always brought a smile to my face. It was at a barbecue hosted by our mutual friend Ryan. I was manning the grill, trying not to burn the burgers, when she walked into the backyard. With her infectious laugh and bright eyes, she lit up the whole place. I was immediately drawn to her outgoing personality, a perfect balance to my more reserved nature. "You are holding that spatula like it might bite you," were her first words to me, followed by that laugh I grew to love. We exchanged numbers that day, and within a week, we had our first date at a local coffee shop. The conversation flowed so easily between us, like we had known each other for years. Amanda worked as a marketing coordinator at a downtown agency with flexible hours, while I had been building my career in IT security. After dating for a year, we decided to move in together. Our apartment was not fancy, but we made it ours, with photos of our trips, furniture we picked together, and little mementos of our relationship milestones. I still remember how we argued over a blue couch she loved that I thought was too big for our living room. She won that argument, and honestly, that couch became my favorite place to relax after long days at work. I came from a hard-working family. My parents immigrated to America before I was born, and they instilled in me the values of education and perseverance. I was the first in my family to graduate college, something my parents celebrated with immense pride. My job in IT security was demanding but rewarding. I had worked my way up from an entry-level position to becoming a specialist handling clients with sensitive security needs. For our upcoming 3rd anniversary, I had been planning something special. I wanted to propose to Amanda. This was why I had been putting in extra hours at work for the past 6 months. There was a big project that came with substantial overtime pay, and every extra dollar went into my savings for the perfect engagement ring. Around the same time my work schedule intensified, I began noticing subtle changes in Amanda. She started buying new clothes more frequently, wearing different perfume, and going out for more girls' nights than usual. At first, I brushed off these changes. I blamed myself for not being around as much due to my increased work hours. I thought perhaps she was just finding ways to occupy her time while I was away. "Working late again, Jared," she would ask, a strange tone in her voice that I could not quite place. Not accusatory, but almost relieved. There was one evening that should have been a red flag. Amanda came home late, around 11:00 p.m., claiming she had been out with coworkers. When I hugged her, I noticed she smelled of cologne. When I mentioned it, she quickly explained that she had hugged her female coworker's boyfriend goodbye. I accepted her explanation without question. As the weeks passed, I started noticing patterns in her absences. Thursday evenings, she would have networking events, and occasional weekend afternoons were spent helping a friend move or attending a work seminar. I did not think much of it at the time. I trusted her completely. The change in her behavior with her phone was what eventually caught my attention. Amanda used to leave her phone around without concern. She would ask me to answer texts for her while she was cooking or in the shower. But over time, she began taking her phone everywhere, even to the bathroom. She changed her password, and I noticed she would angle the screen away from me when texting. Despite these warning signs, I struggled with my suspicions. I did not want to believe that Amanda would betray my trust. I kept telling myself that I was being paranoid, that my long hours at work were making me see problems where none existed. We had a dinner date at our favorite Italian restaurant, a rare evening when both of us were free. Throughout the meal, Amanda seemed distracted. She checked her phone repeatedly, smiling at messages before quickly putting it away. When I asked who was texting her, She vaguely mentioned just work stuff and changed the subject. By the end of that dinner, I made a decision. Instead of confronting her directly with accusations based on suspicion, I would pay more attention. If something was going on, I needed to know for certain before jumping to conclusions. After all, we had built 3 years of love and trust. I owed our relationship that much. I will never forget the day everything changed. It was a Tuesday, and I had decided to come home early from work with a bouquet of lilies, Amanda's favorite flowers. The project I had been working on was finally complete, which meant I could cut back on those extra hours. I wanted to surprise her, maybe cook dinner together like we used to before my schedule became so demanding. When I arrived at our apartment, no one was home. I checked the calendar we kept on our kitchen wall. Amanda had written that she would be working from home that day. Her laptop was still on the kitchen table, screen dark in sleep mode, so I assumed she had stepped out briefly. While putting the flowers in a vase, I accidentally knocked over her tablet that was propped against the fruit bowl. When I picked it up, the screen lit up automatically. Amanda did not have a password on her tablet, unlike her phone. What I saw froze me in place. Notifications from an unfamiliar messaging app filled the screen with previews showing messages from someone named D accompanied by heart emojis. I stood there, flowers, forgotten water, dripping onto the floor from the stems in my hand. An internal battle raged within me. I had always respected Amanda's privacy. We had built our relationship on trust and mutual respect. But the gnawing feeling that had been growing in my stomach for months pushed me forward. Just one look, I told myself, just to put my mind at ease. With trembling fingers, I opened the messaging app. What I found shattered my world into a million pieces. Extensive conversations between Amanda and someone named Derek revealed a 6-month affair conducted right under my nose. There were explicit messages, intimate photos exchanged, and detailed accounts of their meetings. The messages went back to around the time I started working overtime. While I was putting in extra hours to save for our future, Amanda was using that time to build a relationship with someone else. The revelation hit me like a physical blow, leaving me breathless and nauseated. But what hurt the most were the messages where they mocked me. Amanda had shared details about our relationship problems with this stranger. They laughed about how oblivious I was, how trusting. "He thinks I am at a marketing seminar this weekend," one message from Amanda read. "Meanwhile, I will be in your arms. Your boyfriend must be the most clueless man alive," Derek had responded. Lucky for us. I scrolled through their conversations with growing horror, discovering they had planned their next meeting for tomorrow afternoon at the downtown Marriott, the same hotel where I had planned to book our anniversary dinner in the rooftop restaurant for my proposal. Further investigation revealed something that made my blood run cold. Derek was not just some random man. He was a client I had worked with on a security project. I had helped protect his company's data, all while he was destroying my personal life. The irony was not lost on me. I found conversations where Amanda shared intimate details about our relationship problems, many of which I was not even aware existed. She complained about my work hours, my boring routine, how predictable I had become. Each word was a knife twisting deeper. "Jared is working late again," she had written. "He thinks I do not know he is saving up for a ring. If only he knew how I spend my free time while he is slaving away." Derek's response: "His loss, my gain. Cannot wait to see you tomorrow." My hands shaking with rage and hurt, I took photos of key conversations using my phone. I needed evidence, something concrete to confront them with. After documenting what I needed, I carefully put the tablet back, exactly as I had found it, placed the now wilted flowers in the vase, and left the apartment. I drove aimlessly around the city for hours, trying to process what I had discovered. My mind raced through every moment of the past 6 months, reinterpreting every late night, every excuse, every time she pulled away from my touch, claiming she was tired. The pieces fit together perfectly, now painting a picture of betrayal so complete it took my breath away. By the time I returned home, I had composed myself enough to act normally. Amanda was there cooking dinner as if nothing was wrong, as if she had not just destroyed everything we had built together. "You are home early," she said, surprise evident in her voice. "I thought you had that security update to finish." "It went faster than expected," I replied, amazed at how steady my voice sounded when inside I was screaming. "The flowers look nice." "Oh, thanks for those." She smiled, kissing my cheek quickly before returning to the stove. "What is the occasion?" "No occasion," I lied. "Just thought you would like them." That evening was torture. We ate dinner together, watched a show on Netflix, and went through the motions of normalcy while an ocean of unspoken words drowned me. When she excused herself to take a shower, I heard her phone ring. Through the bathroom door, I clearly heard her laughing, that same laugh that once brought me joy, now cutting through me like a blade. He would never suspect a thing she said to who I now knew was Derek. "Everything is set for tomorrow." The usual room. As I lay in bed that night, watching Amanda sleep peacefully beside me, I made my decision. There would be no explosive confrontation, no dramatic scene. Amanda and Derek thought I was a fool. They had laughed at my trust, my dedication, my love. Now they would learn exactly who they had underestimated. With the evidence in hand, I began formulating my plan. I needed to be methodical, calculating, and most importantly, I needed to maintain my composure. This was not going to be an emotional reaction, but a carefully orchestrated exit. My first call was to my friend Thomas, who worked as a lawyer. I explained my situation without revealing too many personal details and asked for advice regarding our apartment lease, which we had both signed. "Since both your names are on the lease, you are both equally responsible," Thomas explained. "If you leave, you will still be legally obligated for your portion of the rent until the lease ends or is terminated." This was a complication, but not an insurmountable one. I had 6 months of savings that I had originally intended for Amanda's engagement ring and our future together. The irony was not lost on me. Next, I reached out to my colleague Brian, who had recently mentioned his neighbor was looking to sublet their apartment. Within a day, I had secured a new place to live, putting down the deposit from my savings account. It was a smaller studio across town. Nothing like the home I had built with Amanda, but it would serve as a fresh start. I took a personal day from work, timing it when I knew Amanda would be at her office for a full day of meetings. I packed essential belongings, things I could not bear to leave behind: family photos, important documents, sentimental items from my childhood, and clothes to get me through the next few weeks. I left everything we had purchased together: the furniture, the appliances, even the blue couch I had grown to love. They were now tainted with memories I wanted to forget. A visit to our bank revealed another layer of betrayal. Checking our joint account, I discovered charges for hotel rooms, expensive dinners, and gifts that I had never received. Amanda had been using our shared finances to fund her affair. Working with the bank representative, I opened a new individual account and transferred exactly half of our savings into it, leaving Amanda's portion untouched. Despite her betrayal, I would not stoop to taking what was rightfully hers. "Are you sure you do not want to transfer more?" the bank representative asked clearly, assuming this was a bitter breakup. "Legally, you have access to the entire account." "I am only taking what is mine," I replied firmly. My integrity was one thing Amanda could not take from me. My next step was to contact the downtown Marriott where Amanda and Derek had planned their rendezvous. Using my corporate account, I booked the room adjoining the one I knew they would be in. The hotel staff was accommodating, especially when I mentioned I was a rewards member. The emotional toll of maintaining a normal facade at home while making these preparations was immense. Each evening, I would return to our apartment, exchange pleasantries with Amanda, eat dinner together, and pretend everything was fine. All the while, the weight of her betrayal and my impending departure crushed my chest, making it difficult to breathe. I checked in with my friend Sarah, a therapist who provided emotional support during this difficult time. She helped me process my feelings without letting them overwhelm my judgment. "What you are feeling is normal," Sarah assured me during a lunch meeting. Betrayal trauma is real, and you need to allow yourself time to heal. While gathering my things and making arrangements, I also took the time to research Derek more thoroughly. Using my skills as an IT security specialist, I uncovered details about his family life. He was married with 2 young children. His wife, Catherine, worked as a pediatrician at a local hospital. The knowledge that Derek was not only betraying me but also his family added another layer of disgust to my feelings about the situation. I wrestled with the moral implications of informing Catherine about her husband's infidelity. On one hand, she deserved to know. On the other, I was not certain if inserting myself into their marriage was the right thing to do. After much consideration, I decided to include this information in my confrontation with Derek, giving him the chance to tell his wife himself before I did. For Amanda, I prepared a letter explaining my departure and feelings about her betrayal. I wrote and rewrote it several times, struggling to find the right words to express the depth of my pain and disappointment. In the end, I kept it simple and dignified, refusing to give her the satisfaction of seeing how deeply she had wounded me. I also gathered items that had been gifts from Amanda over the years: watches, cufflinks, books with personal inscriptions. I packed these in a box with the letter on top. These objects, once treasured as symbols of our love, now felt like props in a play where I had been the only one who did not know the script. The matter of our mutual friends was delicate. I decided against informing them before the confrontation. I did not want to create drama or be talked out of my plan. Afterward, I would tell them the truth if asked, but I would not volunteer information or try to turn them against Amanda. That would be her consequence to bear when the truth eventually came to light. On the morning of their planned hotel meeting, I called in sick to work. There was no way I could focus on security protocols and client needs when I was about to confront the 2 people who had betrayed me so completely. I packed an overnight bag, checked out of my apartment, and headed to the downtown Marriott, my heart pounding with a mixture of dread and determination. I arrived at the hotel 2 hours before their scheduled meeting time. The front desk staff welcomed me warmly as I checked into my room. The adjoining room, I knew, would soon host the couple who had been laughing at my expense for months. My room was elegant but impersonal, with generic art on the walls and the standard hotel amenities. I set up my laptop, connecting it to a small recording device that would capture audio through the wall. While I had no intention of using such recordings for blackmail, I wanted evidence in case either of them tried to twist the narrative later. At precisely 2:00 p.m., I heard the electronic lock of the adjoining room beep, followed by the sound of the door opening. Laughter filtered through the thin walls, followed by voices I recognized immediately. "Did you see his face this morning when I told him I had that marketing seminar?" Amanda's voice was clear, tinged with amusement. "He just nodded and wished me luck. God, it is almost too easy." "That is because he trusts you," Derek replied. "Men like your boyfriend always do. They never see what is right in front of them." Their conversation continued, becoming more intimate and explicit. They discussed their plans for the afternoon as well as their future meetings. They talked openly about deceiving both me and Derek's wife, Catherine. The casual way they discussed their betrayal as if it were a game rather than the destruction of 2 relationships made my blood boil. I waited, listening to their conversation, recording their admissions. I wanted to give them enough time to feel comfortable to think they had gotten away with their deception once again. After about 30 minutes, when a lull in their conversation suggested they had moved on to more physical activities, I made my move. I stood outside their door, took a deep breath to steady myself, and knocked firmly. There was confused silence from within, followed by hurried whispers and the sounds of movement. "Room service," I called, disguising my voice slightly. After a moment, the door opened a crack, revealing Derek's face. He was partially dressed, his shirt unbuttoned. The moment he recognized me, his expression transformed from annoyed to horrified. He attempted to close the door, but I was prepared for this reaction and blocked it with my foot. Amanda's shocked voice came from inside the room. She appeared behind Derek, clutching a sheet around herself, her face pale with fear and surprise. "What? How did you—" "May I come in?" I asked calmly, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. I believe the three of us need to talk." Derek stepped back, allowing me to enter the room. The evidence of their affair was everywhere. Champagne on ice, scattered clothing, the rumpled bed. Amanda was frantically trying to gather her things, as if she could somehow erase what was happening. "How did you find us?" Derek demanded, attempting to sound authoritative despite his obvious panic. In response, I pulled out my phone and showed them the screenshots of their conversations. "You both should be more careful with your digital footprint," I said, "especially when dealing with an IT security specialist." Amanda sank onto the edge of the bed, the reality of the situation clearly dawning on her. "Jared, I can explain," she began, her voice trembling. "There is nothing to explain." I interrupted, my tone remaining calm and controlled. "I have heard and seen everything I need to. 6 months of lies, of betrayal, all documented here." I held up my phone. Turning to Derek, I continued, "Catherine seems like a wonderful woman. Your children are beautiful too. I am sure they would be devastated to learn about your afternoon activities." Derek's face drained of color. "You would not dare." "I would," I confirmed, "unless you tell her yourself. Tonight. You have until morning. After that, she receives copies of all your communications with Amanda." Derek grabbed his jacket and shoes, not even bothering to fully dress. "This is insane," he muttered. "Amanda, I need to go. I cannot. I have to talk to Catherine." He left without another word to her, leaving Amanda alone to face me. As the door closed behind him, the facade she had maintained crumbled. Tears filled her eyes, but I felt nothing. No sympathy, no anger, just a profound emptiness. From my pocket, I withdrew a small box, the kind that typically holds an engagement ring. I placed it on the dresser between us. "Open it," I instructed. With shaking hands, Amanda reached for the box and lifted the lid. Inside was not the diamond she might have expected, but my key to our apartment and a short note. "The betrayal you found so amusing ends now. Goodbye." "I do not understand," she whispered, looking up at me with confusion. "While you were busy betraying me, I was busy making arrangements," I explained. "I have moved out. Half of our joint account has been transferred to my new account. The lease is now your responsibility alone, as per the amendment I had you unknowingly sign last week, when you were in a hurry to meet Derek." Her expression shifted from confusion to anger. "You planned all this. You went behind my back." The irony of her accusation was not lost on me. "Yes, Amanda, I learned from the best." I reached into my jacket and produced a receipt. "This is what I was saving for. All those extra hours at work, all that time you spent with Derek, I was saving for this." The receipt was for a custom engagement ring now canceled. The realization of what she had thrown away hit Amanda like a physical blow. "Jared, please," she begged, reaching for me. "We can work through this. People make mistakes. I love you. What we have is real." I stepped back from her touch. What we had was real to me. To you, it was something to laugh about with your lover. The Amanda I loved does not exist. She was a character you played, and I was foolish enough to believe in her. Amanda's pleas turned to anger when she realized I would not be manipulated. "So, that is it. 3 years. And you just walk away. You will regret this, Jared. You will never find someone who understands you like I do. I would rather be alone than with someone who sees my trust as a weakness to exploit." I replied, heading for the door. "Goodbye, Amanda. I wish you had been the person I thought you were." As I closed the door on her protests, a weight lifted from my shoulders. The confrontation was over, and my new life was beginning. I checked out of the hotel, blocked Amanda's number on my phone, and headed to my new apartment, where I spent the evening in peaceful solitude for the first time in years. In the days that followed, I maintained my dignity by refusing to engage in the drama that unfolded. Amanda tried repeatedly to contact me through mutual friends, but I declined all communication. When our friends inevitably asked what happened, I told them the simple truth without embellishment or anger. Most were supportive, though some chose to remain neutral, or take Amanda's side. I respected their choices and moved forward. Derek, I later learned, had confessed to his wife under the threat of my evidence. Their marriage was in counseling, fighting for survival. I felt no satisfaction in this knowledge, only sadness for the innocent people hurt by his selfish choices. 6 months after our confrontation, I ran into Amanda at a local grocery store. She looked different, subdued, and unhappy. When she spotted me, she approached hesitantly. "You look well," she said, her eyes searching my face for any sign of lingering feelings. "I am well," I replied honestly. "I hope you are too." She shook her head slightly. "Not really. I made the biggest mistake of my life, Jared. I miss you every day." Looking at her, I realized I felt no anger anymore, no pain, just a peaceful detachment. "I wish you the best, Amanda," I said, sincerely, before continuing with my shopping. The process of healing was not easy or quick. I spent months in therapy, working through the trust issues her betrayal had created. I focused on self-improvement, advancing my career, reconnecting with old friends, developing new hobbies that brought me joy. Slowly, I rebuilt my capacity to trust and to love. The most important lesson I learned was that self-respect must come before love for others. By walking away from someone who did not value my trust, I had demonstrated to myself that I was worthy of honest love and genuine partnership. Today, I am in a much better place. I have been dating someone new, a woman who values honesty as much as I do. We are taking things slowly, building a foundation of trust and mutual respect. The pain of betrayal taught me to trust my instincts and to demand integrity from those I allow into my life. Sometimes the greatest act of self-love is walking away from those who cannot see your worth. Have you ever had to make a difficult decision to protect yourself from someone you loved? Share your story in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more real-life experiences. Remember, you deserve someone who respects your trust as sacred, not someone who sees it as a weakness to exploit. Thank you for listening to my story, and I wish you the courage to always honor your own worth.